Hello, it's me, your favorite YouTuber, and I'm wearing another shirt of one of your other favorite YouTubers. Oh, dude, can I get the back in shot here, dude? I don't usually do backs on my shirts because it just increases the price of them by another $10. But for some reason, What If got a really good deal on this shirt, which allows me to wear this shirt. Anyway, the reason I'm making this video is because I have noticed some things over the years that are concerning. So, I know a lot of you really don't care, but I have lived here, where I live, for, well, not the house, but you get what I'm trying to say. How long has it been? I'm trying to do the math, and if you take out 3 years of college, and you take out the year and a half that I lived in South Dakota before going to college, and then about a year when I was young and don't remember. I don't actually know the length of time, so let's just say it's 1 year. So that's 5.5 years. That's a lot of years. So if you subtract that from my age, you get about approximately 18 years. So approximately 18 years I've been living in this town, and it's like you the perspective of someone who lives in an actual metropolitan area, when you tell them small town, they think of Minneapolis. It's like, shut up. Shut up. You do not know what it's like to live in a small town. Please stop. It's an entirely different ethos, if you will. And as long as I've lived here, I'm kind of city phobic right now. For many reasons, but mostly because I've lived here for so long, and it's so normal. It feels normal to know the name of everyone that lives in town, to be able to recognize someone by their face immediately as they walk into the room with you. Yeah. But the thing that I'm making this video on is watching a town slowly die. You see, small towns worked back in the days when everything was, spread out more than it is now. Back when there was not the internet, back when there was not high-speed transportation, even back in the 80s, let's just say the 80s. This place was a lot more active in the 80s. There were, I think, if my grandma's telling me the truth, there were 5 grocery stores. There were as many as 5 car dealerships. There were, there was just a lot more. And today, there is 1 car dealership, 1 grocery store, unless you count Dollar General. I mean, I count the gas stations in town as grocery stores because they just have so much stuff, and their prices end up being better than the actual grocery store, and I'm just sitting there like, what? But yeah. What I'm trying to say is that even in my lifetime, okay, dude, 10 years ago, not even 10 years ago, when did I buy? Oh yeah, it's been 10 years. It's been 9 years. 9 years ago, when I was buying my first car, I had options. There were 3 dealerships in town. 3. 1 barely counted. It was barely even a dealership at that point, but it was still a different, design license plate for the dealership. There were cars being sold, cash being exchanged. So it was a dealership, okay? Within 2 years, both of those disappeared, and we were left with 1. And before the plague hit, they basically were able to charge whatever they wanted for the vehicles. Because where else are you going to go to get a car? Are you going to go out of town to get a car? How are you going to do that? You don't have a car. It's like, yeah. And it's like, and something striking that I learned when I was working for my first job. Technically, it was my second job, but like it's my first real job. Um, the mentality, the mentality of a small town. You see, when oil was leaving, the slow process of oil leaving, everyone in town was increasing their prices on everything because the money's disappearing. We need more money. And that led to people taking their, shopping elsewhere. People went to, they would drive out of town. They'd drive 30 miles to get their basic supplies. Or they'd order it online or whatever. And it's like, that's not sustainable. That is not sustainable for the local economy. The local economy is going to completely collapse because there's no one contributing to it. And my boss, the owner, and at this point, this was the only grocery store in town, still is. And we were talking about how all the prices were increasing and how, like milk is, like a controlled price by the state, and we have to sell it at a certain price, even though every single day it seemed like we were putting a new number, a new price tag underneath the milk, and it kept going up, and the thing about it is that what he said to me was that, why should I screw over the people who have been so loyal to me? Like, the other grocery stores falling apart was just, the eat or be eaten nature um, of capitalism. It was not, like the car dealerships leaving. For him, he sustained his clients, I guess you could say, for a grocery store, I guess. Technically they're clients. He sustained it by, forging good relationships, and I guess that's my perspective from a small town. Like, I don't know what it's like elsewhere, but like whenever I see people going like, "Oh, your job doesn't actually care about you. The second that you are out of commission, they will give up on you, and you will have no income." No, shut up. Everyone that I've worked for, well, except for the people that came out of town, were great. Okay, basically every boss that I've had respect for in some capacity. Okay, except for a few, obviously. Most, most of them. And this is the reason. And it's like everyone else was increasing their prices, but the only grocery store in town where there's absolutely no competition, he has no reason not to increase the prices. But he didn't. He didn't increase the prices. And you know what happened? You want to know what happened? People would come from far away to come to our grocery store. It was the exact opposite of what everyone else was dealing with. And that was one of the most. I couldn't believe it when it happened. I I work so much, okay, just constantly. So I get and you know what? I'm in the customer service position there, so I'm always talking to the people that are coming in, and they say, oh, I came from 40 miles away to come to this grocery store. And it's like, why? And the fact is, he kept his prices low for the locals, and it attracted other people. If anything, he solved the problem that the town as a whole is dealing with, where we have terrible prices on everything, so everyone else goes elsewhere where there's more competition, so prices are lower, and they just forget about the local economy. And once the local economy collapses, well, then all the businesses disappear. Suddenly all the jobs are disappearing. And the thing about it is that before the pandemic happened, what we had was a endless supply of workers, basically. Before the pandemic, you could sit on unemployment, but it wasn't going to give you really any net benefit. You weren't going to, you weren't going to be given too much per se. Now with the pandemic, with the additional paycheck protection plan payments or whatever it's called now, people can sit on unemployment and get paid more than if they were actually working. What? Excuse me? I understand that at the beginning of the pandemic when it actually seemed like something, insane was going to happen, which it did. Thanks, society. But now that we're so deep into it, half the country's had it. At this point, we have to be at least somewhat towards herd immunity at this point. Why are we still paying everyone so much to not work? Okay, I understand when the pandemic was starting and we didn't know how it was going to go. Okay, I completely understand and agree with everyone taking a month-long vacation and getting paid to do so. Now, the thing is that where I work now, we've had a high employee turnover rate because everyone's an asshole. However, the problem that we're facing now is that we don't have enough workers. Before the pandemic, we would get a constant stream of workers because, we'd have someone come in and work for 2 weeks and then realize they hate it and then leave. But the reason that they did that, the reason that they came to begin with is because they could not sit on unemployment and make more money. They had to work, otherwise they weren't going to be able to, live. Without that, we're more screwed than ever. We have been so utterly screwed. Everyone, we've hired a bunch of people lately for some reason. I don't know if things are stopping now. I don't know if the unemployment payments have stopped or something, but we suddenly got a bunch of people. But like 2 weeks ago, we were so utterly screwed. We had no workers, and no one was going to come because they were going to get paid more to not work. It's like, why? Why would you do this? And everyone's suffering from it. Like I said, I've watched this town die. The restaurants, you see a restaurant pop up, it exists for 3 months and then it's gone. You can attribute that to the high turnover of small businesses, like what is it, 70% of small businesses fail within the first year. You can attribute some of that to that, but the thing is that no one has any workers. The pizza place that just opened, no workers. 2 full-time employees. They're closed most days. The malt shop here, they were closed for pretty much all of Easter. Our restaurant, we've been trying to lobby the management or the shareholders into closing down for 1 day a week. We can't get that. We can't get that. They'd rather train people. They'd rather have 3 people on shift for $15 an hour and drain money that way. Oh yes. Instead of closing. Oh no. How dare we close 1 day out of the week just to give everyone that works there fucking relief? No. No, we must train a bunch of people all at once. Shut up, Discord. We must train a bunch of people all at once. That's what they did, is they increased the pay for the cooks at the restaurant to $15 an hour to start. Not bad if you ask me. So that's why we're getting a bunch of people. I've just figured it out. I just figured out why we're getting people. But they'd rather do that than close. Because you see the shifts, I think the guy that I trained 2 days ago, he's working this morning. It would be a 10 to 4 shift. So that's 6 hours at $15 an hour. What is that? Are we already past $100 made on 1 day? And that's just in training. And you've got to train these guys several days because there's so much that you need to understand. So basically, not only are you paying the person that you're training $15 an hour, but you're also paying the 2 people that are training them $15 an hour as well. That adds up to $45 an hour for a 6-hour shift. That's not sustainable. We're getting into the busy season here. It's gonna be busier more days than it's not. But that's not sustainable, dude. That's not sustainable, okay? When you have to shell out $1,000 a day in employee wages, That's not sustainable. So it's no wonder that everything is closing down around here, because either A, you can't get help, or B, you're paying out of pocket way too much to do the help, okay? And there's no chains down here. There's only localized chains, okay? You can't sacrifice, some wages at one store and recoup it from the wages from another store. We got a Dollar General here, but they do that all over the country. Dollar Generals are springing up all over the place. And the Dollar Generals, they mate like rabbits, dude. Pretty soon all that's going to exist is the Dollar General. Good Lord. Which is good, because I hate the grocery store now. Honestly, I don't even care. The grocery store sucks so much. I hate them. I would rather Dollar General takes over their business. All right? I would rather Dollar General forces them into shutting that place down. I'm that petty. I'm sorry. I am that petty. I really am. But you know what? That's not my old boss from the grocery store, He retired in 2016. The whole family retired in 2016. Like, and he's gone. He was the only shining beacon of hope in this town. He was the only one fostering relationships. He was the only one willing to sacrifice a little bit of income in order to help out the general economy at large. And it was inevitable. This town it was never gonna make it, especially in the information age. And he was only delaying the inevitable. Ever since his grocery store shut down, it's kicked into high gear. That's when the restaurants started collapsing. That's when, the gas prices, well, not the gas prices, because that's tied to the state, but that's when a lot of stuff started collapsing. So that's when a lot of businesses started closing their doors. That's when, the restaurants started going through their, yearly cycle of being, brought under new management. I think one of the local restaurant bars has gone through 6 different owners in the last 4 years. Quite frankly impressive, if you ask me. Yeah, and it sucks to see. I mean, like I said, I lived here for 18 years, and it's just not sustainable. There's no way that this town's gonna last. I wouldn't even say 15 years. The restaurants are going. Pretty soon the rest of it's going to go with. I don't know if I should blame the oil. I don't know if I should just blame technology. I just feel like as we move further on into the future, small towns are just not sustainable. And when I say small town, I mean population of 2,000. Population of at most 2,000. I'm not talking some actual, town with 50,000 people in it. No, that's not a small town. Stop. I'm talking actual small towns, actual localized settlements. I don't know if a farming village can still exist in today's society. Yes, the internet is so important to everyone's day-to-day lives at this point that if you wanted to live like the Amish, I don't even know if you can anymore. I don't really know if you can. I don't know why my hair is doing this right now. It's very frustrating. But yeah, it's just shit's fucked up is what I'm trying to say. And yeah. So I really don't know what else to say at this point. It just sucks. I mean, I've got a lot of sentiment here. I've lived here for 18 years. I know I know every nook and cranny of this town. I've had so many different experiences in so many different places here. This is just, and it sucks to see. It really does. And I haven't even mentioned the for sale signs on the houses. The housing market here is non-existent. I don't know how you could get anyone to pay, even $50,000 to put down on a house in this town. There's no return on that. There is no return on that. And there's so many for sale signs all over town. Everywhere. House after house after house. And they're asking $300,000 for this shit. It's No. There's houses that have been sitting on the market for upwards of 5 years. Why would anyone pay to come live here? There's nothing going on, and like there's been nothing to do. Like, you know, when you're in high school, if you have one friend with a farm, that's what you do. You go out to their farm every night, get drunk, and smoke. That's what you do in high school here. That's what we do for fun. That's a recreation. That's our recreational activities down here. It's why everyone's fucked in the head. But yeah, it's just a shame. It really is just a shame. And the fact of the matter is that I just don't want to live in a town with more people. I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to live in a larger populated area. I hate people. I love it. I love it here. There's no one to deal with. It's great. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. But I mean, the inevitable's going to happen. I should have left a long time ago. I really should have, but just the pay is too good, man. They're paying me way too much, and I know this. I know this. They're paying me way too much. I don't do shit at work. And I'm still the best employee there. I'm not even trying to be cheeky here. I'm not even trying to be cheeky. Anyway, I'm sorry. This video's gone on for way too long. In any case, thank you all so much for watching. I don't really have any hope, honestly. Everything's kind of fucked at this point, but hey, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing. Support What If by buying a shirt, by the way. It's a very good shirt. Only $16 for this. $16 for this. It even has a thing on the back like I showed you before. Oh, vanity selfie. Vanity selfie to send us out. Bye.